All right, what if I told you that you could make your AI operations like 98% cheaper and 3 times faster? No joke. Today, we're going to unlock a really powerful technique that does exactly that. It's called batch prompting. And honestly, it's the secret to making your AI work at production scale without completely breaking the bank.
Okay, to really see how powerful this is, just look at this comparison. It's pretty stark. On the left, you've got the standard way of doing things. Slow and expensive. Processing 100 items costs you $5 and takes 3 whole minutes. But now, look at the right. With batching, that same exact job is like a rocket ship. It costs a measly 6 cents, and it's done in under a minute. I mean, that's an absolutely staggering 98% cost reduction.
But to really appreciate why this solution is so good, we first have to dig into the problem. Let's talk about the default, really inefficient way that most people are processing tasks with AI.
So, here's the deal. Every single API call you make, it comes with this kind of hidden tax. First off, there's a fixed overhead, right? Just for the connection, the authentication, all that setup stuff. Second, you're stuck processing things one after another, which creates a massive bottleneck. And third, and this is the big one, as you start to scale up, those little individual costs, they spiral out of control fast.
And this is what that inefficient process actually looks like in the real world. You've got your stock of items, and you just feed them into a simple loop, making one API call for every single item. This creates a ton of problems. You get high latency, because you're waiting for each response. You're wasting tokens by repeating the same instructions over and over again. And yep, eventually you're going to slam right into your API rate limits.
All right, so enough of the bad news. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about the elegant solution that completely changes the game.
So what is batch prompting? It's actually a pretty simple but really profound shift in how you think. Instead of making tons of small individual requests, you just group similar tasks together and process them all at once. The analogy here is perfect. It's like doing one big weekly grocery shop instead of making a trip to the store every single day. So much more efficient, right? And this visual really just nails the core difference. On the left, you've got that inefficient method, this slow, painful, back-and-forth conversation with the AI for every single item. But on the right, it's one single, powerful command. Boom! The entire job gets done in a fraction of the time. Okay, so what are the real, tangible benefits of making this switch? Let's talk about the economics of this, because the numbers, they're truly staggering. First up, you immediately slash that fixed overhead for each call. Think of it like a connection fee, right? Instead of paying that fee for every single item, that one setup cost is now spread across dozens, maybe even hundreds of items. And that alone results in a 40 to 60% reduction in the cost for each item. Second, and this is huge, you get a massive speed advantage. Instead of waiting for items to process one by one, like they're in a single file line, the model can handle a bunch of them in parallel all at the same time. This gets you a 3 to 5 times improvement in your overall throughput. It just means you get way more work done way faster. And as if that wasn't enough, get this. Services like OpenAI's Batch API will literally give you a 50% discount just for doing things this way. I mean, they're actually paying you to be more efficient. Why? Because it helps them manage their own resources better. It's a total win-win. Now, when you get to production scale, the savings just become astronomical. Look at this. A job that would have cost you $500 to run one by one, you can now do for just $6. That is not a small optimization. That is a complete game changer for your budget. So let's just recap why this works so well. It's really a powerful combination of things. You're cutting that API overhead, you're saving a ton of tokens by sharing instructions, you're taking advantage of parallel processing, and you're cashing in on better cost economics, including those awesome official discounts. Okay, let's make this super concrete. Let's move from the why to the how, and look at some practical, real-world examples of going from bad to batch.
Let's take a super common task, classifying emails. The bad way? A slow, expensive loop that goes through one email at a time. The good way? You send one single efficient request with all the emails bundled together and the classification rules listed just once.
And just look at the numbers for this. I mean, yeah, the 98% savings in API calls, cost, and time, that's incredible. But the really mind-blowing part for me is that last row, throughput. We go from processing half an email per second to 25 emails per second. That's a 50x improvement in pure speed. Insane. And this isn't just for classification tasks.
The exact same principle applies to generative stuff, like writing product descriptions. Instead of repeating your instructions, your tone, your length, your keywords for every single product, you just provide the rules once and tell it to apply them to a whole list.
And check this out, even on a super tiny scale like just 3 items, the savings are immediate and really significant. You're saving 67% on cost and time and almost 30% on tokens just by not repeating those instructions. The benefits start right away.
Okay, so by now you've seen the massive benefits. You're probably thinking, how do I do this? So let's talk about how you can implement this robustly in your own work and, just as importantly, avoid some of the common pitfalls. Let's dive into some production-ready pro tips.
Here's a simple 5-step playbook to get you started. Step 1. Identify your similar repetitive tasks. That's the low-hanging fruit where batching just shines. 2. Design a shared prompt structure, a master prompt, to save on those tokens. 3. Figure out your optimal batch size. You gotta find that sweet spot that fits inside the model's context window. 4. Make sure you implement this with solid error handling. And finally, Step 5. Monitor your performance so you can keep tweaking and optimizing.
And please, be sure to avoid these common mistakes that trip people up. First, don't batch things that are completely different from each other. That just confuses the model. Second, don't make your batches too big and exceed the context window. Third, always use a really clear output format, like JSON, so your code can actually understand the response. And finally, you have to be able to handle partial failures. If one item in a batch of 100 fails, you don't want the whole thing to crash.
And to really level up your game, here's some pro tips for production. Start small with your batch size, and then scale up once you know it's working. Like I said, always use structured output, like JSON. It'll save you so many headaches. Implement automatic retry logic for any batches that fail. And for just maximum throughput, process multiple batches in parallel using async code. That lets you fire off a bunch of requests at once without waiting around.
So, if you remember one thing, let it be this. Batch prompting isn't just some nice-to-have little optimization. For any serious production-scale AI application, it is absolutely essential. It's how you operate efficiently and affordably.
And that leaves us with one final critical question to think about. Now that you've seen the massive savings and the huge efficiency gains, the real question is, what's the cost of not doing this? Your prompts are running one by one right now, so how much are you overpaying?